Ball formation.
Okay, are you a member or not?
Not member.
Oh, right. Seeing a film that's off the mainstream radar, that you're seeing it in a room with other people, that it's just I think the artistic and emotional life of a city really kind of depends on having access to, many arts, but for me, my interest is film, and if you don't have an independent film center, you're kind of missing out.
There is an argument that people make that, oh, well, I can just see this at home on my home entertainment system. But I think seeing it in the theater on a film print is something that you can't replicate in your house. So the films that we end up screening at Northwest Film Forum, I choose based on a variety of criteria, but mostly it's to fulfill different programmatic needs. So whether
there are so many great films, and so many of them aren't seen beyond the festival circuit. We often find our films in the letters to the editor pages in the different newspapers in town. To me, that spells the health of a community, when you can get people talking about issues that are relevant to their lives.
The Northwest Film Forum was founded 15 years ago. Started out as a filmmaking cooperative. So in a way, it was a much more guerrilla operation at the beginning. 5 years ago, we moved into the space that we're in now. Up here, we consolidated all of our operations. So the organization as it is now has 2 screening rooms, film and video gear that we rent out, edit suites that we rent to people in town, filmmaker offices in the building. We have a 16mm film vault. We have a film editing suite. We have a animation room, a library. Again, in that way, actually, I think that we're doing something that nobody else in town is doing. As much as we're interested in building a filmmaking community around the types of films that we're showing, we're interested in building a filmmaking community around filmmaking.
And it really began as film buffs getting together and creating independent cinema.
I was here when Art was building this theater, and I remember how much work he put into it from scratch. He built this place with whatever wood materials he could find. He had a very, very small budget.
There was an existing theater called the Grand, and it was about to go under. And this small group of community members decided to band together and start selling memberships, essentially, and that's what helped finance the first features at the Pickford.
So a little bit of work and sweat equity goes a long way, maybe more so than budget.
We're not out to make a profit by our very natures. I would say, yeah, we're definitely not. We're not a business so much as a artistically driven organization.
Most of these films aren't going to be shown. Trailers aren't going to be shown on MTV, or the marketing is limited to what we do. Oftentimes, the demand for independent film and the demand for more independent film was obvious by the lines around the block.
We've actually made money every year it's been open, which I think is really unusual.
Without the community support and our over 2,000 memberships, we wouldn't be here. We only had one screen, and that forced us into business situations where we could only feature, say, one film for maybe several weeks, where we wanted to be showing multiple films all the time.
Going to a bigger theater, your business increases, you get to do a lot more cool stuff, you get to make your theater look more Art Deco-y.
I'm sitting right here in our unfinished new space, which is going to be, it is the Pickford Film Center. And we first became interested in this beautiful space. It was the only space downtown Bellingham that had high enough ceilings where we could actually feature or have a raked floor for good sight lines, etc. I think the exciting thing about this space is that it has all kinds of potential. We have 6,000 square feet of space in the basement, classroom space, archive space, another additional 20-seat screening room. We have a script library. We have an archive of over 2,000 DVDs, even editing bays. We're sort of an independent media center. And we were really dedicated to staying downtown. I mean, we could go build a theater for a lot cheaper than what we've done here. But for us, part of that, the community part of the project was to keep downtown alive and thriving.
Yeah. I think this is really good timing because it actually means we'll bring more people downtown and it'll actually kind of help Bellingham, you know, since the recovery is going on. So.
I think we have a very specific niche, and I think what we do is different from what everybody else in town is doing. I mean, there's some overlap, of course, but I'd say our core programs are very different from the rest of what's going on in town. We want to highlight new filmmakers. The contemporary work we show is at the cutting edge of filmmaking. By cutting edge, I mean filmmakers who are doing very new and formal things with the film, so they're playing with different film genres. And so part of what we do with the classic canon is highlight filmmakers who were changing what filmmaking was at the time that they were working. And I think it's really important also for there to be kind of a public space for these types of films, for there to be a place where people are engaging in a conversation afterwards, where you can run into your neighbor or into somebody you never knew before after the screening and kind of talk about the experience you had. Its purpose in the community is not any different than, say, the library, the live theater, the public square.
Film is like water, basically. If you don't have it tightly wound, it will go everywhere and into everything.
The last 12 months have been really busy for us. I think a lot of that, in some ways, has to do with some of that's the result of our educating of the public through bringing this kind of film and continuing to show it and developing the public's taste, I guess. Community is definitely a part of why I do what I do.
When you can get people talking about issues that are relevant to their lives, and that's why I'm in the business. I mean, film can be entertainment, but it can be so much more.